Hey everybody, it's Austin Ward for Lettermen Row, back with another BuckIQ. We've got Reed Fragel in here, former Ohio State tackle, NFL tackle. He's breaking down that offensive line play that has had some people around Ohio State concerned the last couple of weeks. Reed, when you've watched, you've got that expert analysis, you've been through all that. Have you been as concerned maybe as some others outside the program?
I think there's definitely a lot more concern outside the program than there should be. I think simply because we're looking for things. I think we're in a good position right now where we're undefeated.
Yeah.
We're kind of getting nitpicky with a little bit of things, which is good. There's always things you can improve on, but I do think the O-line's doing a great job in pass protection, but the run game, obviously, I think needs to pick up some slack.
When you have an offense that's putting up 560 yards a week, I mean, I'd think that those guys up front have to be doing something right, don't they?
Exactly, and I think we're just kind of seeing a shift in offense, though, where the pass attack is at an all-time high, and the run game is kind of lagging a little bit behind, whereas in previous years, I think we outrushed other teams in the country, I think, for the last six years. So you're just kind of seeing, I guess, a transition in offensive game plan.
But we'll see if Reed can pick up some things here on tape, short yardage stuff, maybe a sack or two from that win against Minnesota as Ohio State turns the page and tries to get ready for a trip to Purdue. A tricky one maybe, Reed. We'll break that all down here on BuckIQ. So let's roll the tape.
Going for it on these fourth downs, and also Urban just needs it. Oh my goodness. And they will not get the first down.
Well, Reed, this has obviously been a hot topic. The short yardage rushing attack for Ohio State it hasn't been at that standard for the program maybe the last couple weeks. So here's a 4th and 1 last week against Minnesota. What do you see here up front?
Well, you see Demetrius, he's thinking he's got a guy inside or outside eye tight on the center there, Michael Jordan. He's thinking he's got to come down and really get hip to hip with him and drive up to second level. But as you'll see as the play goes here,
here he goes.
He penetrates too much and he doesn't get enough meat on him, as you can see. And he gets pushed right back into the pile. And you got Theron not coming off on his backer over here. And that's just day one stuff right there, which I'm not sure why they're not getting it, but he's got to come off on that and see that backer coming up early and be there, because, you know, if he doesn't get there in the backfield like that, he might be able to pop out and make a play.
I think you've told me about this a number of times. It's about all 5 guys, but
yeah.
when there's one breakdown here, and this is kind of the focus point of attack, is it hard for the rest of the guys to even account for that mistake, or how does that?
It is. It's just kind of like one thing after another, and when you get penetration like this up front on a 4th and short, it's not going to it's going to take away that much more reading time for the back to make a move. He's already in his lap right now as he's getting the ball. He's not going to be able to make that move, and then you got this guy coming off the edge here, not getting picked up by Theron. So even if he did have time to make that move, he's going to be in his lap as well. So it's just kind of a trickle. It's one thing after another, domino effect, if you will.
When you look at this, you said it was kind of day one stuff. Is this just the kind of play that it's puzzling, or does it give you concern that this isn't one that they could execute? Or?
It's just kind of lackadaisical if you think about it. It's just like if I'm working with my left guard as a tackle and I know we're working up to that backer and I see that backer shooting like that, I know I'm going to have to come off, and that guard knows he's not going to have me for very long because he knows I have to get off on that guy. It's just kind of one of those things you pick up on, especially mid-season. You should be there, and you should know that that's something that is going to happen rather quickly.
Nothing more than to get off the field right here. Here's Haskins to throw it. Rolls. Haskins will not get the first down.
So we have another situation here later in the game. It's 3rd and 2, and Reed, I picked this one because I thought maybe this might be a chance to look at the offensive line and say, hey, they executed their part, and some other things that they couldn't control led to this 3rd and 2 not being converted through the air.
Yeah, and that's just one of those things that I think Dwayne's still growing with is the end of the play coverage sack type situation where before you saw him getting pressure, I guess, and throwing away into an interception, whereas now he's getting a lot of time. He has a lot of time to think, but the coverage is real tight, so he's got to make a move. And we're kind of seeing him not real comfortable out of the pocket just yet, which, as Will was saying earlier, it's just kind of weird to see an Ohio State quarterback not looking very comfortable, I guess, scrambling outside the pocket.
Yeah, JT Barrett's probably not looking for this block from Weber. He's probably just taking this space here, right? I mean, that's you move the sticks and move on.
Exactly, and you got to take those 2 yards and move on, but you're just still seeing that hesitation. I think that as the season goes on here, hopefully he grows out of.
This stuff at the top, the pass protection, everything else looks okay to you.
Yeah, the O-line they're doing a phenomenal job eating that up. I mean, they're washing these guys out of the play completely.
Through his drop back, sets up evenly and delivers an accurate ball. This time he's in trouble and will be sacked.
Another big one that came here for Ohio State, and this was actually, focusing on the pass protection, not a short yardage situation. 3 sacks that Ohio State gave up last week. And Reed, I know you've noticed some things here, maybe on the edge.
Yeah, there's a couple things going on. You got, I think Michael Jordan's coming around, tripping a little bit, so that's a start. Then you got up top here, you got Isaiah Prince. He's throwing his hands real late, as you saw last season. We talked about earlier that he had an issue with, where he's kind of losing faith in his punch. And I'm not sure what kind of spurs that, but you're seeing him throw on kick, I think, 3 or 4 there, and he's throwing them from his hips. So he's not really getting a full punch even when he does throw it. And you'll see also Dwayne is about 8.5 yards deep, which is a tad too deep if you're a tackle. You kind of want to have that edge set at around 7 to 8. But it's just kind of, like I said before in the run play, it's a combination of things all happening at once. You got Michael Jordan coming around here, barely getting his guy. He's free, basically. You got the edge basically not set by Isaiah, and you got your quarterback a little bit too deep. So it's just a recipe for disaster.
This is a good player, too. I feel like Isaiah was kind of upset after the game with getting blamed for playing the way he did. Sometimes you go out there at the tackle spot, you just have a couple bad plays, and then suddenly it feels like the world is falling.
Absolutely. It's kind of, it can become a mental thing real quick after a couple mistakes. But yeah, he had a good quality opponent against him last week, and usually he can get away with, if his hands are late, he can be athletic enough to ride the guy by. But as you see here, the quarterback's a little bit too deep. It's just a culmination of things.
All right. The offensive line always takes the blame for that.
Yeah, exactly. It's always on us.
That's the way it works. Reed Fragel back in with us. Lettermen Row for BuckIQ. Looking at that offensive line, they've got a chance to get things rolling again on Saturday night against Purdue, a defense that Ohio State should be able to handle pretty well, and these 5 guys up front are going to be key to that. So he's Reed Fragel. I'm Austin Ward, and we'll see you next time.